In this video, we're going to be solving inequalities using really either addition or subtraction. So we're going to do some examples to kind of show how this goes, and then when we get our answer, we're going to graph it. So for problem A, or example A, we have x minus 3 is less than negative 4. So if we're trying to get the x by itself, we need to get rid of the 3. So the opposite of minus is a plus, so we'll add it, and that's going to give us x is less than negative 1. When we go to graph that, we'll have negative 1, 0, 1, negative 2, negative 3. We will have an open circle at negative 1 with our arrow pointing to the smaller numbers. Let's try another one. For letter B, we have negative 3 is greater than negative 3 plus h. We're trying to get the h by itself. So we need to get rid of the negative 3. How do you get rid of a negative 3? We're going to add it to both sides. So that gets rid of the negative 3. And then negative 3 plus 3 is 0. So 0 is greater than h. So this one's a little bit different because our variable's on the right-hand side. So when we graph this one, we need to think about what we're doing and what we're saying. So we know that we're going to have an open circle at at 0, and it says 0 is greater than any other number. So if 0 is greater than any other number, that means 0 is the biggest. So this means this is our biggest number. So our arrow is going to point towards the smaller numbers. Let's try letter C. Here we have s minus negative 1 is greater than or equal to 2, and we're trying to get our s by itself. But you might notice that there's a negative and a minus next to each other, which allows us to turn this into a plus sign. So to get rid of the 1, we will now subtract 1 from both sides, and that's going to leave us with s is greater than or equal to 1. So when we go to graph that, because our variable is on the left, our arrow will point in the direction of our symbol. So we will have a closed circle at 1, and it's closed because there's a line underneath our greater than sign, and we will point towards the bigger numbers. For letter D, we have 1/4 is greater than y minus 1/4, and we want to get that y by itself. So how can we get rid of a minus 1/4? Well, we should add the 1/4 because the opposite of minus is plus. So we will add it, and then you can either use your calculator to take 1/4 plus 1/4, or you can do it mentally, and you're going to come up with a 1/2 is greater than y. So that means that 1/2 is bigger than any other number. So again, we're saying that 1/2 is the biggest number that there will be. So when we go to graph this, we'll have 1/2, 1, 2, 0, negative 1. We'll have our open circle. And remember that 1/2 is the biggest, right? That's supposed to be the biggest number. So our arrow will point towards all of the smaller numbers. Let's do one more. Here, for letter E, we have negative 8 is less than 1.4 plus m. So we're trying to get the m by itself. So look at the 1.4. It's a positive 1.4. How do you undo a positive? How do you undo a plus? You minus it. So we'll subtract 1.4, because by subtracting 1.4, that will make that a 0. It cancels it out. Then, if we take negative 8 and we subtract 1.4, we're going to get a negative 9.4 is less than m. So if 9.4 is smaller than any other number, okay, so now we're saying that this is the negative 9.4 is smaller than any other number, that means that when we graph it, so we can go negative 9.4, negative 9, negative 8, negative 10, negative 11, make that a little bit longer. So we're going to have an open circle at negative 9.4, but negative 9.4 is the smallest number. So our arrow is going to point towards our bigger numbers. So that's how you solve an inequality by either adding or subtracting.